everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome. This is your girl Vanessa, and today we are getting into Olivia Rodrigo's sophomore album, Guts. And so far I've only heard one song, which is Vampire, that came out a couple months ago. Sorry also if I'm a little nasally sounding. I'm still a little congested, getting over a cold. I literally got sick twice in the last month, so I'm still getting over that. Disregard that, don't mind it, just ignore it. That's also probably why you haven't seen any videos in the last couple months since my vampire reaction. But anywho, we are gonna get into her sophomore album. I don't really know what the vibe is gonna be. We all know Sour was very much the heartbreak album of hers. And so yeah, I'm curious to see what the vibe is for Guts. Let's see if she can continue that momentum and success off of Sour into Guts. I know there's the whole Hollywood like music artist thing of like, oh, when someone has a successful first album, there's that sophomore slump where the second album's not as good. So hopefully that is not the case for Miss Olivia. And yeah, let's just get right into it. I'm not going to talk anymore. Track 1, which is All American Bitch. Let's go. Okay, acoustic. Reading the lyrics as per usual. So that's supposed to be like Natasha Bedingfield reference? Oh, there goes the production. I was gonna say the verse is very light and airy and soft, whereas like very much comes in harder on that production for the chorus. She almost sounds different in the chorus. Okay. Ooh, that top note. How does this flow? Oh, okay, it flows right into Bad Idea, right? So for the first track, interesting intro. Wasn't my favorite. It definitely gave me like little sister to Halsey's Nightmare, if that makes sense. But I don't know. I feel like I need to re-listen to that maybe a few more times for it to grow on me. Because just off of initial listen, it's not my favorite. I don't know. I've never been one to like really love the like really on the nose, like I don't even know how to describe this song. But like those songs that are just like all the problems that we as women and the standards that are set expected of us, and like the way we have to be prim and proper, and like in the verses light as a feather and like airy and whatever, like Stepford wife, and but then like go off, like I can't show that I'm angry like when I'm pissed off and blah blah. But like I don't know, I've never been in love with those types of songs, so that's probably where I'm kind of just like meh on this first track. Like I don't hate it, it's just probably not one that, at least off of initial listen, I would gravitate towards listening to. Like I don't know if I would skip this as a first track and go straight into Bad Idea, right? Which again, I haven't heard this single yet. I skipped this because 1, I was sick, and 2, I just felt like I would just listen to this in the track list of the album. So that flows right into Bad Idea, and let's just continue on. Still with that like grunge sound. Okay, hold on, pause. Okay. So obviously it's pretty clear the song is about, you know, the like, not rebound, but like that repeat post breakup like hookup with an ex of like, I know we're done. I know we're exes. We're no longer together, but oops, you know, you're still texting me and I'm still responding and you're telling me your new address and I'm coming over and I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to. I mean, me personally, I can't relate. Once someone's gone, like, snip out, like, I'm no longer concerned with you. But like, I know that's common for a lot of people to be like, sometimes they need that last closure hookup or whatever to kind of get that ex out of their system before moving on. So this is another one where I'm like, the first one is more just like my own personal feelings on like that type of specific song content. This one is more just like, I can't relate. And I feel like I kind of said that with her Sour album on certain tracks on initial listen, where I was like, I can't really relate to this, but like, I feel like her songs I need to listen to more than once. I'm gonna give a disclaimer before I even finish this album, because I don't want any of you in the comments to come for me about being like, oh, you just need to give this another try. I know. I listened to Sour the first time and wasn't in love with it, and it did take me a couple listens before I actually was like, no, I actually really like this. This is really good. I feel like I might have the same situation with Guts, where like so far we're only 1.5 tracks in, and I'm kind of like, I don't love it right now. Like, it's giving me not enough yet. Like, I'm not feeling like pulled in like certain like the singles off of Sour gave me. So I feel like maybe this is one of those albums that does need a few listens before I can like really appreciate it. So that is my disclaimer before we even get fully through the album, so y'all can't come for me in those comments. Let's keep going. I told my friends it was asleep and I said where in his sheet. This part's a little repetitive for me, the pre-chorus. I would have liked if that wasn't like a muffled electric guitar. Okay. I'm curious what the music video looks like, just because I didn't listen to that track when it was released a few weeks ago. Now I'm curious what the music video looks like, but I'm gonna watch that on my own time, sorry. And that goes into Vampire, which I've already heard, and I do that, like I said with the other tracks, you know, took me a few listens, but now I find that song stuck in my head sometimes, and I'm just singing it, and I'm like, it is a catchy chorus. But Bad Idea Right, I don't know. There's something about it where I feel like it could be rounded out a little bit more. And I don't even know how, but like I don't know. I'm not fully sure how I feel about Bad Idea Right yet. But we're gonna skip Vampire since I already listened to it. Go watch my reaction in the cards wherever. And then track 4 is Lacey. Okay, so a slow track. Dear Angel Lacey, eyes wide. Ooh, I care. I love her harmonies though. Ooh, interesting chord right there. I feel your compliments like bullets on skin. Ooh, I care. I'm trying to figure out what Lacey is supposed to mean. Oh. Okay. Oh, Lacey, it's like you are out to get me. Yeah, I despise my rotten mind and how much it worships you. Okay, so that was Lacey. I was reading the lyrics a lot, like while it was going, and I'm still not quite sure what it's supposed to mean. I might need a few more listens to understand what Lacey is supposed to be about. If you guys understand what Lacey's about, let me know down below in the comments, because I am a little confused on that. I did like that. That definitely was in line with her slow songs. Very beautiful vocals on there. I love her harmonies as per usual. And then that goes into track 5, which is Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl. And I heard some reverb at the beginning of that, so let's continue. I feel like that might be a little more up-tempo. Yep. Was she homeschooled? I mean, I guess she was on Disney, so that would make sense. So that was Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl. Definitely talking about that social anxiety, probably things she didn't learn by being homeschooled and not being in like a public school or even private school, but like any like school system where you have, you know, social dynamics with grades full of people of your peers, and just like learning, you know, later than others, just how to talk to people and interact with others. Yeah, so that was Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl. It was alright. I didn't love it on first listen. I think, I don't know, these songs, as much as like people wanted to at first hate on Sour and the singles for sounding, you know, very teen angst, love, lost, whatever, I feel like those songs as like a breakup album in its, you know, entirety were definitely more of a relatable topic, whereas like this is still relatable, but as someone who's like over 30 years old listening to like very teen angst anthem type of songs, these aren't really hitting me the way that I would want them to going into this album. So again, I'm hoping that another, you know, listen or two of this album will make me, you know, feel more inclined to want to listen to and, you know, enjoy these songs more. But I have to be honest, we're like halfway through the album now. We're on track 6, about to listen to track 6, Making the Bed, and I'm kind of in like this mid like vibe. It's not really pulling. I'm kind of feeling indifferent about these songs, and like, not to say that these songs are bad, I just feel like a lot of this, like I said, is very much the teen angst emotion, and I've been left my teenage years like over a decade ago, so I'm like, I can't, like, this isn't where I'm at in life. I can't really relate to this on that level, so I'm very much like, okay, like, these are valid feelings and valid, you know, emotions and concerns at her age of like 18, 19, when she was probably writing these songs during and post Sour. But like, I just can't, you know, like, that mindset is so removed for me that I'm kind of just like, okay, I'm hearing it and I'm just like, I'm sure this resonates with her peers, but for me, as someone who's, you know, over 30 years old, I know I don't look it, but as someone who is older than her by like over a decade, I'm kind of just like, meh, like kind of indifferent. So it's like, I don't love these just on initial listen, but I definitely don't hate them. But it's definitely more of a like, if I heard these in Starbucks or whatever, it'd be like whatever. But I won't be singing along based off of my feelings now. Now that could change. Again, like I said, with Sour, it took me a few listens to love that album. It could change on, after editing this, I end up listening to the songs at least 3 more times, and I might feel differently. But as of now, sitting down and listening to this album for the first time, I'm kind of in this weird middle indifferent lane. So hopefully this back half of the album will kind of pick it up for me. But we're gonna go in track 6, Making the Bed.
Want so got it, did it so it's done. But sometimes I feel like I don't wanna be where I am. It's me who's been making the bed, making the bed. I got the things I wanted, it's just not what I imagined. All the sheets on my head. Sometimes I feel like I don't wanna be where I am, making a bed.
Okay, so that was Making the Bed. I definitely felt more of the vulnerable emotion in that song, and I love when she does her, like, I know some people want to say that she's like whiny, but I love when she gets into that vulnerable emotional like feeling, and like you could hear it being like portrayed through her voice into the song. So I definitely, Making the Bed definitely was a highlight out of the last 5 tracks. I didn't really say anything about Vampire, but you could definitely hear a little bit of that in Vampire too. So I definitely liked Making the Bed. It was definitely more of a up my alley in tone, in terms of her tone and how I like her songs to feel. Like I do like when she goes into that like rock punky sound, but I don't know, I feel like there was a lot of it where it just didn't connect for me in the like first half of the album. So we're gonna go into track 7, which is Logical. Seems like another slow song. I'm assuming I like the slower songs.
And now you got me thinking 2 plus 2 equals 5. No love is never logical.
Definitely sounds more like the type of like that feeling where girls just feel like they can change a guy, and it's just like, if he wanted to, he would. Like, stop thinking y'all can change these men out here, okay? Like, it's just, if they want to, they will. If they don't, they're just gonna do the same thing over and over, and you're gonna pour all of your energy into someone who doesn't want to change, and then you just end up being drained at the end, and you're worse off for it. So don't do that, ladies.
You built a giant castle. Things you did to me. Oh, they got me thinking changing you is possible. And I'm sure that girl is really your friend. And brought up the girls you could have instead. Said, oh, if I know
Toxic thing to say.
Thinking 2 plus 2 equals 5.
Backgrounds. I love the piano on this.
Logical, logical. I know I'm half responsible. Why did I stop it all?
I did like Logical. Again, I love when she gets into her vulnerable, you hear the emotion through her voice songs. That one, I felt it. I feel like that, again, is probably a very universal experience for lots of women who get into relationships thinking that they could change these men that they get in relationships with. And it's like, you get with a guy who's saying toxic things, like, I forget what was in that bridge. Oh, like all the other girls I could have. Like, if a guy says that to you, like, oh, there's so many other girls out there that I could have, but I'm with you, toxic. Don't accept that. No, that's not okay. So, like, I feel like there are lots of things that you can hear are, like, going so wrong in this relationship and Logical. And then at the end, she's like, I know I'm half responsible. And it's like, taking that accountability, knowing that, like, I stayed in this situation and let you kind of treat me this way and tried to my best to try and change you, but also change myself to be what you wanted, and took your, like, passive-aggressive comments about, like, the way I looked or the way I behaved or what I could or couldn't do for you. None of that when you're, you know, in love or infatuated with a person. None of those feelings are logical. Like, while your feelings might be valid, it does not mean that your feelings and your emotions are logical, though. Lots of feelings and emotions are actually illogical and irrational, but, like, you still feel what you feel. So, I don't know. I like Logical. So, Making the Bed and Logical definitely were bringing it up for me. So, let's see what happens with track 8, Get Him Back.
I met a guy in the summer and I left him in the spring. Do I love him? Do I hate him? I kept it up and down. Get it back, 'cause I really miss him and it makes me real sad. But I know my phone is water, so maybe I could fix him.
Again, with that mentality, you can't fix these people. That back and forth. It's getting very anthem-y. I don't know. That one had a little bit of cheese factor for me. Going back to the whole teen angst mindset, while I know there are people who are older than that who definitely have that back and forth relationship with guys or girl or whatever, where it's like, it could be really good or it could be really bad, and you guys are more just like infatuated with the fiery parts, the passionate parts of being together, but like every other aspect of being together is horrible, like it sucks. It's like, oh, we had such good times together, but he sucked as a person. But I would totally get back together with him, but I also want to get back at him. And it's like that back and forth, that dichotomy. It's like, I get it, but I'm also like, it's such a juvenile mindset. And she's only, what, 20, 21 now? She mentioned something about clubs in the other song, so I'm assuming she turned 21 now. I don't know. The song kind of was very adolescent to me. So, not my favorite. So... yeah, we're gonna move on to the next track, which is Love is Embarrassing. Which, you know, yeah. Let's see what this one's about. I feel like she's still in this mindset of like lacking that self-worth that I feel like also comes with being so young. Like she's learning with these, you know, relationships as they go. But yeah, I feel like this is another thing that I just like can't relate to because I just am never the person that's like gonna sit and be second street. I don't know if that's the Virgo in me, but I just like would not sit around and just let someone treat me that way after a month of knowing them. And I don't know, I just feel like this is another one of those like young, like adolescent, like juvenile mentalities of like lacking that self-worth and just like letting men treat you a certain way just for the validation that doesn't stick. Anyway, that was the end of the song. I kind of let it play in the background as I was talking, but yeah, it's just one of those feelings where like I could never relate to that mentality of kind of just like sitting there and waiting for scraps from someone because of like insecurities or a lack of self-worth or self-esteem or anything like that, where you feel like you need the validation from someone, but like that someone's not even pouring 100% into you and is definitely like you're just on the roster for them and not their main priority. That is something I think she needs to talk to her therapist about and do some, you know, introspection or whatever on and grow out of that. But yeah, I don't know. Again, this is falling into that category of the earlier songs where I just felt like this is just stuff I can't fully relate to or stuff that feels very young. But yeah, we're gonna go into track 10, which is The Grudge.
If nightmares each week about that Friday, then they took everything I loved and crushed it in between your fingers. Now I hear your voice every time that I think I'm not enough. Could anybody do the things you did so easily?
I like that melody right there.
It took strength to forgive that I don't feel strong.
Oh, interesting note choice right there.
We both drew blood, but man, those cuts were never equal. Not quite sure I'm there yet. Strength to forgive, but
interesting. Okay, I feel like The Grudge has potential. I said earlier, I do like when she gets into her vulnerable ballads. So like I started to like this one and I did like the melody of the pre-chorus and her belting, showing her like, we all know she can sing, like showing her range in that bridge. And it's sad, again, feeling of like weakness and lack of like self-esteem or self-worth or whatever, and like her admitting like, I don't feel strong enough to forgive you yet, so I'm gonna hold this grudge until I feel strong enough to forgive you. Like yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, girl, I really hope you learn to grow out of this mentality and like just realize how like well you should be treated and what you should and should not accept from others and how they treat you and how they choose to love you and the love you choose to return. But anyway, we're gonna move on to the second to last track of this album, track 11, Pretty Isn't Pretty. Oh, okay. Upbeat. Ah, I see where this is going. Again, not good. This feels like a more teeny jealousy. I got a little fade out moment, okay. Okay, so that was Pretty Isn't Pretty. I feel like Pretty Isn't Pretty feels like more teen version of Jealousy Jealousy, even though Jealousy Jealousy definitely was, I don't know, I feel the production made Jealousy Jealousy feel a little more mature than Pretty Isn't Pretty. I like when I hear that, I feel like I could hear Pretty Isn't Pretty over a scene in like a teen movie. I see it like towards the end before like the resolution of like a teen movie. Like I just, that's where I see it. Like I could see it there. So like it's cute. It's a cute song. I would let it play, but right now it's not my favorite, but it's definitely above a good half of the other tracks in this album. That sounds so bad. I'm sorry guys. I don't hate this album. I just feel like it's very young for me, and I just feel like I don't relate to it as much because she's so much younger than I am. But anyway, let's get into this last track, Teenage Dream. Are we channeling Katy Perry? Who knows? But last track of the album, Teenage Dream. Let's close it out and let's go. Oh, we're closing out with a ballad again?
Am I gonna stop being wise beyond my years and just start being wise? Cause your whole life ahead of you, only 19 to me.
Oh, see, I heard the like whatever sound. I was gonna have a switch up.
I'm sorry that I couldn't always be your teenage dream. They all say that it gets better, it gets better, but if I don't, they all say that.
Still like 30 seconds left in the song. How are we ending? There's like muffled talking at the end of the track, but that was the album. That was Guts, Olivia Rodrigo's sophomore album, following 2021 Sour. And I gotta say, just based off initial listen, if you haven't already guessed, as a whole, this album wasn't my favorite. I do think that I need a few more listens to really appreciate the songs, because I feel like with me, a lot of times I'll listen to an, like, if it's not from a favorite artist of mine who I've been listening to for years, usually a first listen on a project is not my favorite. I usually have to listen to things multiple times before I end up liking or even loving certain songs or a whole album. So I feel like with Olivia, because she's still so new in the industry and so new with her like career, her artistry as a, you know, musical artist, I feel like Sour wasn't an anomaly, but like because it had such a great like and public success, I feel like there are just going to be inherent high expectations for her second album, for this one, for Guts. So I feel like going into it, like even with Sour being in the back of my mind, it's still too early to really say like what is Olivia Rodrigo's sound going to be across her career. Like it's going to take time for her at her age to grow into like what she really wants to sound like. Oh, this album was a lot more of the like grunge pop sound versus Sour. Sour definitely had a lot more ballads, a lot more piano, slowed down songs, which I actually really enjoyed re-listening to when I, you know, heard the album more than once. This one only had a handful, just a few songs that were that slowed down piano style ballad, and a lot of it did have that like pop punk grunge-ish influence to it. So those aren't my favorite songs, and as you can see, like the first half of the album wasn't really pulling me in. Honestly, I probably should have listened to Vampire just to give me a little bit of a pick-me-up, since that was the third track of the album. I do like Vampire. I liked Making the Bed and Logical. The Grudge and Pretty Isn't Pretty, I liked more than the others. I would say they were ranked higher than like majority of the album. And then I think Teenage Dream was a cute song. Like I did like her. I think that it's a very, you know, interesting song of her kind of thinking back at the age of 19, which would have been like a year and a half or so ago. So probably like after she finished her Sour tour, just thinking back to like all the success she had, just coming right off the bat of like immediately from Driver's License first single out through Sour album release and tour, like how much success she had, and how everyone's talking about like, oh, you're so wise for your age, or you're so good and talented for your age. And she's like, I just want to be, you know, smart and talented, period. Like, I don't want to like it have to be a qualifier for how old I am or for, you know, how new I am into this industry. And she's just kind of like, there's so much of my life ahead of me, and like, why am I feeling like I'm older than I am, that I've done so much more, and like I can already fall after only literally releasing one album and like having success in the first year of her releasing music. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh, she's now like, I think now she's 21, like her writing this album, I'm gonna assume just on her with the line of I'm 19 that this was probably one of the first songs on this album that she wrote. And so I think that is her more thinking of like the first year and a half of her career of really being in the spotlight, of like, wow, so many things happened, but I still have so much life and career to live that like it's kind of crazy. And that mentality of how do I navigate this moving forward. So I think it's a very nice, like that, I feel like Teenage Dream did start to like move it into a more mature mindset, but there's still so many songs in here, like I mentioned before, that like I just feels very young and adolescent and juvenile, and like just not the mindset that I'm in, over a decade older than her. So like it's just gonna be, there's gonna be hits and misses just based off of that. And so, yeah, I'm gonna give this album a few more listens. If I had to rate it, because I only kind of liked maybe 5 out of the 12 songs, like that's probably like a C- range. And I probably off of the initial listen to Sour would have given it like a B, maybe a B+. So, yeah. Probably in editing, I'll listen to this album like at least 3 more times, and then we'll see how I feel then. But yeah, that's my first initial listen to Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. Don't come for me in the comments if you immediately off the bat love this. I love that for you, and that was your experience. Let me experience music in the way that I experience it. Like, if you want to let me know what you loved about the album, like what tracks were your favorite on initial listen or have turned into your favorites, let me know for sure. You know, I'm just that person that needs a few listens and doesn't always love music, especially in this day and age, music that's just released in its entirety on first listen. Like sometimes I do need a few repetitions in my brain to get that dopamine hit. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Guts. Hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. Let me know if you felt the same as me on your first listen to Guts. And yeah, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe, because coming up I do want to do Alina Baraz's new single. I saw that she dropped a new song last month. I've been holding out to do a video for you guys, as well as Tori Kelly's EP that dropped at the end of July, that I haven't gotten to yet because I have been sick twice in a month. So yeah, stay tuned. Subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified when I do upload those videos and more, and I will see you guys later. Bye.